During the Nazi occupation of Austria, there was a big flood in Vienna, and an elderly man slipped into the swollen waters of the river Danube, but somehow he managed to hold on to a log of wood. Quickly, there was a crowd of people who gathered. Just then, a courageous young man got ready to jump into the swollen waters and save the drowning elderly man. But someone from the crowd shouted out, "Don't jump, don't jump. He's a Jew. Let him die. It's not worth risking your life for a dog." Others in the crowd too chorused, "Don't save this dog. He's a Jew. Let him die, let him die." But this young man said, "No, he's not a Jew. He's a German." And against everybody's approval, and with great risk to his life, he plunged into the water, and after much struggle, he brought the man back to safety. When the crowd came near to see the man that was rescued, they said aloud, "Thanks be to God. Yes, he is a German." Just then, the young man spoke loudly for all to hear, "Yes, he is a German, but I am a Jew." I repeat, he said, "Yes, he is a German, and I am a Jew." Friends, a Spanish proverb says, "To return evil for good is devilish. To return good for good is human, but to return good for evil is godlike." Friends, we live in a world where survival of the fittest is the theme from birth. We are taught that being the best and the brightest will open every door and have you leading the pack instead of trailing behind. We are instructed to emit confidence at every turn, showing strength and concealing our weakness. We see this acted out every day in the halls of education, in our schools, through our objectifying grading system, as well as in our companies and organizations, where promotions serve as an ephemeral proof of one's innate worth. Our instinct for self-preservation and survival runs deep within us. We worry about money, setting enough resources aside for a rainy day, and having enough money to pay our bills. Somehow, over time, the ingredients for living a successful life has been completely underrated, the importance of basic kindness. However, when we realize how beneficial kindness is, it is impossible not to embrace kindness as the ultimate measure of success. No one should be too proud or too focused to deny themselves the immeasurable worth that comes from embracing and extending kindness to others. Kindness is one of those paradoxes where we become happy by making other people happy. I'm going to share with you 5 scientific facts why the act of kindness is healthier and happier choice. First of all, kindness boosts our serotonins, the neurotransmitter responsible for feeling of satisfaction and well-being. And this feel-good chemical also heals your wounds, calms you down, and makes you happy. Point number 2, every act of kindness spreads through 3 degrees of separation. Kindness is contagious, just as a pebble creates waves when it is dropped in a pond, so acts of kindness ripples outwardly, touching other lives and inspiring kindness everywhere the wave goes. This is also known as domino effect and set off or pay it forward type of ripple effect. Everyone who witnessed the act improves their mood and makes them significantly more likely to call it as pay it forward. The third scientific reason for kindness is when you are kind to another person, your brain pleasure and reward centers light up as if you were the recipient of the good deed, not the giver of the good deed. And this phenomenon is called as the helper's high. The fourth reason is perpetually kind people were found to have less cortisol levels. This is a stress hormone and age slower than the average population in the world. And the fifth, a study conducted by Harvard Business School on a survey of happiness in 136 countries some years back found that people who are altruistic, people who are charitable and give donations were found to be the happiest overall. Friends, good health is the ultimate aim of every person, and the $1 trillion to be precise $4 trillion wellness industry, trades on our universal desire to be our best selves and to get more out of life, which has led to what is called today as the wellness industrial complex. From seaweed wraps, detox, to herbal teas, to mushroom infused coffee to give your brain a boost early in the morning, to medi-spas for distress, the wellness industry today uses any trick, technology, or outlandish practice that might make us feel a little happier and healthier. The modern version of the term wellness piggybacks on the multi-billion diet, supplements, and fitness industry. Well-being today is presented as very complicated, complex, difficult to achieve correctly, and best when purchased while requiring gurus to access it. The involvement of the industry makes what should have been a straightforward, a healthy lifestyle into a very complicated one and a consumerist mess. This doesn't mean that exercise and diets are not important. The worst thing about the modern day incarnation of well-being is that they devolve the responsibility of health onto individuals via their commercial markets. These worthy goals have been overshadowed by unhealthy food obsessions, over-exercising, and unrealistic body shapes. Sometimes keeping up to date with the latest superfoods, health fads, and workouts can make wellness feel so much of hard work. But what if the healthiest habit is all boiled down just to one word: kindness? Friends, it is cool to be kind right now, and there is mounting scientific evidence to suggest that cultivating kindness could be as important to our well-being and longevity as exercising and eating our greens. So it's time to be really cool by being really kind. In this high-tech, emotionally detached and fast-changing world, what is needed, what is appreciated, and what is lasting is high-touch, caring people, and loving relationships. What we need is revival of kindness and the desire to be kind. It starts with us and with the belief that our world could be a better place and a happier place if more people thought so. To conclude, I'd like to quote Sir John Templeton, a legendary investor. Quote, "It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice." I'll repeat, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. Unquote.